Recap building a character using a reference image and the mirror modifier and the subdivision modifier. Let's get started. We need to load in our background image and to open up the toolbar. Background images, we need to select add image, open, L, boom, 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 boom. T-pose, there we are. Press 5 so we can see it. I'm going to make it bigger than it is by default. There we go. Now I want to line up the front view with the front view and the side view with the side view. So I'm using X and Y to locate it. I've drawn some kind of grid lines on this to make it a little bit easier. They aren't really essential. That's our front view. Side view. So I need to add another view. Add image. Oh, we need to change that one to front. Front. Side view. All views. Side. It's right ortho. We need to select the image which is already loaded in there. Make it 10 again, just to make it a little bit bigger. That's the view we want. So we want to drag it that way a bit. These things act like sliders, or you can type in numbers directly. That looks fine like that. So we've got front view, right orthographic, all centered. Let's think. Control C, no, Shift C. There we go. Shift C moves the 3D cursor to the center point on the grid. Worth knowing. Add mesh cube. There we go. Now we're going to use a mirror modifier on this, which is a good tool, which basically means you only have to build half of your model. Right, so I want to stick it in edit mode, add a loop cut, which is Control R, press return, enter. That adds a loop around the middle of the thing. Get it onto face select mode, and we also want to press limit selection to visible, which means we can see through it, and when we do a selection we're getting the back as well as the front. Delete faces. So now we've got half our cube. Now if we go over to the modifiers panel, add modifier, mirror modifier. So it's got X selected already, which just mirrors it along the X-axis. You can adjust the merge limit, which is how close it has to be to the next vertex for it to work. For the time being, I think we want clipping on. Clipping kind of glues both sides together somewhat. Now I want to select that face. Oh, well, let's actually we'll scale the whole thing down before we start selecting everything. So I want to scale it down the Z axis just to make it a bit better. Right. Now we just want the top face on that. So I'm going to extrude it upwards, then scale it on the X-axis a bit. Extrude Z. I'm just trying to line it up with anything interesting along the body. So I've just gone under the pectoral there. Extrude Z. Go as far as the armpit. Extrude Z. Go up as far as the shoulder. Extrude Z. As far as the neck. Extrude Z. It just gives us topology in the right places for what we're trying to build. Right, I'm going to grab this face here. I'm going to turn off clipping and go extrude Z. Turning off clipping means that when I pull the legs apart, they separate. I turn clipping on, when I pull them apart, they kind of stay glued together. At least that's the theory anyhow. Scale that up a bit so it matches. I just want to grab that loop, which I'm doing Alt Shift R. Scale up. Ooh. Let's move that out a bit. There we go. And let's put clipping back on so we're not separating that in the middle. That's good. Get back onto face, select, extrude Z. Scale that down a bit. Extrude Z. Scale it down a bit. Extrude Z. Extrude Z. Scale it down a bit. Right, now I'm going to stick it on the side view. You can see we're much too wide. You also notice you can't see the avatar we're working on, because at the moment the background image is, like it says, in the background. We've got the option of moving it to the foreground, and as soon as we do that we can see through and we can see what needs adjusting. So this is just a matter of grabbing loops, so we're doing Shift Alt Select and scaling it down on the y-axis now. Drag this along that way a bit. Let's just grab that loop, scale Y. Select that loop. Yeah, Shift Alt Select just grabs all the way around the loop, which means it's not just doing the front side, it's doing the back side as well. Scale Y. Scale Y. Just do a bit more of this to make the subdivide bit we're showing you later make a bit more sense. Got the wrong one. So it's just a matter of matching it up to the anatomy. That's why these kind of reference drawings are really invaluable, because trying to do this just using your artistic ability, you can make all sorts of kind of wrong assumptions about human physiology or anatomy. So it's good for your artistic ability, and it's a nice exercise because it. Ooh, see, I'm making this look easy. So what's happened there? I've grabbed my my cursor too close to the center point, so I've not got any subtlety of control. Now if I do my scale with my cursor close to the center, it will be, yeah, it'll be jumping all over the place. But if I do my scale Y with my cursor over here, then I've got a bit of control over the process. How are we looking now? So we're not looking too bad. Again, I need to change the background image here so it's on the front view also. So again, we can see through it. Now you can see this is lining up fairly well on one side and not that well on the other. It's probably a mixture of my pattern not being quite in the middle and the drawing not being 100% symmetrical. They tend not to be. It's probably wise if you're making one of these of your own, draw half of it and then mirror it, so you've got a nice accurate thing. Alright, I'm going to add the subdivision surface modifier. excuse me. This, clicking it is the same as subdividing the mesh over here, but it acts in a way where it's not a permanent modification, and this will let you work at different levels of detail, and then let's put a smooth on here as well. Shading smooth. Hang on, we are in edit mode. Smooth. There it goes. And now, when you've got this kind of detail, you can nip into sculpt mode and start being quite artistic with it. So we can start tweaking bits and pulling bits out. If you keep switching between your views, which I now can't see because I've made it transparent, you start being able to get your figure starting to look at it something like a real one. But that'll do for now. So recapping, we loaded in a background image, we set up the views so they were centralized for the front and side, then we added a cube, stuck it into edit mode, did a loop cut, vertical loop cut, and then deleted half of it using delete and the limit selection button. Then we added the mirror modifier with the x-axis switched on, turned on clipping to duplicate it, and then we subdivided it, then we extruded, didn't we? We extruded up bit at a time to get the body up to the bottom of the head, and then for the legs we turned clipping off so they remain separate, then extruded down, and then we went onto the side view and we grabbed loop cuts and scaled them, grabbed loops, not loop cuts, we scaled them along the y-axis until it lined up with the side view. Then we had a subdivision surface modifier, that's easy for me to say, to allow us to add more topology and then sculpt it using the sculpt mode tools. Great, that's about it.